Hi, I'm Jackie from Essential Yoga. This is a live class recording. It's a 70-minute class, and the one I uploaded last week onto my YouTube channel is the easier variation for over 50s. This class is for all levels, and there's in this class there's actually a teenager and a 74-year-old in the same class and everything in between. It's a big class. It's also on Zoom. So if you do it, take 70 minutes of your time. By the end of the class, you'll be close to doing the full splits, or closer than you are right now. So if you value flexibility, especially in your hips for walking more freely, having better extension and flexion through hip joints, then take the time to this class. It is a long time on YouTube, 70 minutes. But if you can actually do it, or even half of it, you will feel really good, relaxed, stronger and freer in your hips. So hopefully you can do it, and let me know how you go, and never stop working on your body. Be your best. So start standing. What we're going to be working on today is our hip flexors and our hamstrings, our lower back, our mobility for hip flexion and extension, and by the end of the class you will all be doing the splits. Nearly. Trying to. Doing your best. And I'll mute those people on Zoom, and so they can't talk. And if the good news is, if you're a bit stiff, you only have more to benefit from doing yoga. You just do your best, you should feel good. Don't overstretch, don't overdo it. It's a big class. Got like 8 on Zoom and about 15 of you here. So we're going to start off warming around our hips, and we're just going to do this. So just make sure you're not rounding out, looking down. Look straight ahead. And this is working on balance and stability in the standing leg, glutes, hip, ankle, and then obviously mobility. Keep your core switched on, mobility in your swinging hip. Don't look down, look straight ahead, horizontal gaze. Okay, and then the other leg. Keep that lift through the chest, that head in the right place on top, reaching through the crown. Enjoy the class. 75-minute class, this one. If you're very good, I'll let you have a little bit of relaxation, a little lie down at the end. Okay, and then this is abduction, adduction with a little bit of rotation. Look at a still spot straight ahead of you. Keep stability through that standing leg. And then the other leg, abduction, adduction. Really stimulating blood flow around the hips. It's fine to have a hand on the wall, so you could be doing it like this, that's fine. Okay, and then we're doing all those again. Hip swings. You might go a little bit further into it. Other leg. It's called dynamic stretching. That's not actually static holding the stretch, but it is releasing your muscles around the hips and thighs, lower back, and then abduction, adduction. Keep the lift through the chest, and the other leg. Okay, I'm going to warm up our hip flex, engage our hip flexors, and it's basically kick, kick, core switched on, kick. This is an active hamstring release, strengthening the front of the hip and thigh, freeing up at the back. Don't over kick, don't overstretch, don't strain. Make it feel good for you, just right for your body. Kick the goal, right foot, left foot. You start warming up now. You can always do a point, that's easier, point, or just halfway to your edge. Otherwise you might put a little bit more into it. Do the can. You start warming up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the next one is thumbs out, heel towards bottom, and you're trying to get the arms behind you as much as you can. So it's not like that. It's a tight little, and then we'll go shoulders turning in, so thumbs in, internal rotation, heel towards bottom, engaging the muscles in the back of the body here, and then thumbs out, keeping everything strong in the back body. And then thumbs in, so shoulders turn in, just getting internal and external rotation. I'm still feeling my hamstrings from Monday's class. And then thumbs out. Okay, spinal rotation like this. Nice and loose through your arms. The core firm but relaxed at the same time. Keeping that reach to the crown of your head. Feet together and going into chair pose. Inhale and then heels up, exhale. Keep pulling the tops of the shoulders down as you raise your arms down and back, down and up, or tops of the shoulders down. Try to stabilize into the shoulder blades pulling in and the lower front ribs pulling in at the same time. Strong toes, strong calf muscles, lengthening, flexible ankles, lengthening calf, contracting calf, lengthening calf, contracting calf. Engaging the shoulders at the front, engaging the shoulders at the back. So really moving the blood flow. Try not to let the ankles splay out when your heels come up. Okay, we're holding heels up, shoulders pulled down and back. Pubic bone forward, lower front ribs in, tops of the shoulders down. Steady gaze, not at the floor. Pull your arms back a little bit. Engage your triceps and your thoracic, but keep squeezing the lower front ribs in and pulling the tops of the shoulders down. Don't let the ankles splay out. Okay, and let's release the ankle joints or the calf, the Achilles. And if you want to be easier, have your arms lower or even in prayer. If you want to be stronger and it's okay for your neck, raise your arms higher. Even press the palms of the hands together if you want advanced and vigorous. Push and go deeper into your legs. I'm going to go easier. If you want to go harder, that's fine as well. That's Zoom. That's YouTube. You might be famous. There they are. Okay. Working into your bodies. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to standing. Okay, stand at the front of your yoga mat and stepping your left leg back, hands on the hips. And then feet together, or feet at the front, step the right foot back. Heather, hello. Another one on Zoom. We've just done some warm-ups, so we haven't actually started really the main work of the class yet. Okay, now this is the easier option. So this is the easier on the lower back and the arms and the thighs option. So if you want to keep doing this, stick with this or come back to this. They're not yoga students. Okay, and then this is the harder option, but if you've got 2 blocks, it makes it easier. But I want you to have a straight back. So this is harder on your back because you've got to hold your chest up. And it's harder, sorry Zoom people. Okay, so easier with 2 blocks, but if you don't have 2 blocks, you've got to put your hands on a stool or your hands on a chair, or come back to this one was easier. Easier on your back to keep, and you've got to really work your muscles. And the really hard one is just an option if you want explosive, much easier with blocks. It's just an option. It's fine to stick with easier, come back to easier, just a little bit more there. Just at your own edge, doing the right thing for your body. Do a couple more, about 10 more counts. Okay, and then downward dog pose. Just holding that stretch. Strong into your arms. Lengthening your spine. Holding downward dog. Strong into the inner wrist side. Reach the crown and tail in opposite directions. Stabilize into the shoulder blades and try to let your neck release as much as you can. Really clears out your head space. Nothing like holding the downward dog, just make your head feel good and your lower back, and get a good stretch out there. Okay, so step or jump to a squat. And lie on your back, feet in the air. Couple of breaths. You can have your hands wherever you want. You can have your hands under your bottom, behind your head, beside you. Just be careful of your lower back if you have a tricky lower back. Switch on the core. Okay, and exhale. Keep the right leg up and just bring the left leg to the floor. Take a few breaths. Try to keep both legs strong and straight. Don't let the left knee turn out. Try to get both legs straight. Inhale and then exhale, swap. So it's right leg down. Hold for a few breaths. Try to get both legs as straight as you can get them. Keep that core switched on. Try to relax as much as you can. Exhale, swap. If it gets a bit too much, just hug your knees in, have a quick break. Okay, and then exhale, swap. Exhale, swap. And exhale, swap. Okay, everybody have a break. Hug your knees in and relax the hip flexors. Just use your arms to hug the knees in and just have a break. Softening the hip flexors. And then windscreen wiper with the 90-90 arms and internal and external rotation with the arms. Yep, that's it. Try to keep that right angle, and this will free up your hips from the previous exercise with the legs in the air. Try to get the knees closer to the floor, so one hip's externally rotating, one hip's internally rotating. Is the sun okay, Philippa? And leave it for now? Yep. Okay, everyone, hug your knees back into your chest. And then back to both legs in the air again. Exhale, bring the left leg down first. Hold the right leg up. If you want easier on your neck, just this is enough. There's a bit more lower abdominal core. Harder in the neck, as an option, is lift your head up towards your knee and your knee towards your head. So you could have arms just in the air or halfway or lightly behind your head. So you can choose, but you try not to over tense the neck, but definitely work the abdominals here. Let's do 10 more counts. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Either grab the back of the leg or the strap or your foot. So you can use a strap, just grab the back of the leg, or grab the foot and breathe and hold the stretch, not overstretching. Consciously try to relax into your own edge. If you overstretch, you can strain your lower back, you can injure yourself, you can actually get stiffer if you overstretch, so don't do that. Just relax into it. And then one more nice deep breath in and out, a little bit more stretch if your body will let you. Hugging the knees in for a moment, just letting things soften. And we'll do the other side. So it's left leg in the air, and easier is just keep your head down, and there's enough strength going on there. But if you feel it's okay for your neck to do more, lifting your head up, head towards the knee, knee towards the head. Arms wherever you want your arms to keep your neck as relaxed as it can be, working into the deep abdominal core. You don't need to do meditative breathing right now. You can really 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab the back of the leg or the foot or grab your strap. And just hold the stretch. Breathe into it. Breathe into your body. Enjoy your body. Love your body. Your body in this yoga class right now is never going to be younger than it is right now. So you better enjoy every second. So you're already all doing the splits. You see a theme in the class. It's the grand finale, you'll all be doing the splits. Final exhalation, next exhalation. And then hugging the knees in. Okay, now the next one, you can make it nice and relaxing and easy for your core, or you can make it strengthening. But we'll start off with relaxing and easy. Revolving belly pose with your feet on the floor and your knees go one way and your knees go the other way. So that's, if you just want nice and relaxing and loosening, slowly. Don't overstretch in your lower back or over pull. Just be mindful it is to do with flexibility in your lower back, your waist area. Now, if you want it to be a little bit strengthening, a little bit loosening at the same time, you can bring your feet up, and it's the same movement, but with your feet up. Just be careful, as I said, of the lower back. And if you want it to be more vigorous and harder and very strengthening, straight legs, keep the shoulder blades grounded. It's just an option for all of you. You can make it easier, you can make it harder. Is this one allowed on YouTube? You prefer not? No one knows whose bottom it is? No, maybe not. No, I'll leave it on me. Okay. Okay. So if you're watching this again on YouTube, you guys or strangers out in the world, I have asked permission to the students. Sorry, Catherine, you came in late, but you might be on YouTube because I might post this class. Is that okay? Knees together, Bruce, knees together. When you need a break, just hug your knees in. Okay, everybody. Hug your knees in now, that will do. Every time you exhale, get a bit more release. You can go into meditative breathing now, into the belly, into the diaphragm. Soft belly. One more nice deep breath in and out. And then you can either rock up to sitting or maybe a squat if your knees don't mind. And coming to downward dog pose. Strong arms, check your alignment of your hands and have your feet about fist width, so a bit closer. Stabilise into the shoulders. Inhale, exhale, lifting your left leg up but not your left hip. So I'm going to check your hip bones are level. Okay, so yeah, hip bones level. And upside down splits, strengthening your arms. So one-legged dog. Good, looks good. And then exhale, swap to the right leg up, but not hip bones level. Strong arms, stabilise, push into the inner wrist side. Sternly rotate the shoulders. Levelling up those hips. Good, good, feel apart, that's it. Okay, everybody rest into child's pose and give your arms a break. We'll be doing that again. We're doing it 3 times, 3 or 4 times, but actually there's going to be a harder variation, but we'll just stick with this one again. Okay, back to downward dog pose. Strong into those arms. Feet a bit closer than hip width. And first lift the left leg up. Take a few breaths there. And then the right leg up. And then have a break. Have a break again in the child's pose. Now, the next of 10-15 minutes is going to be all involving your mat at a wall, and I'll demonstrate the first one. So you're going to be at the wall, And it's what you just did, but it's a bit more intense variation that looks like this. So you go into downward dog with your heels up the wall. And then strong, you really got to work your arms a bit more. And then we're going to go left leg up like this. And you're trying to walk your hands closer and get your, you've got to really use your thoracic. Okay, and then we'll do the other, obviously do the other side. And then you'll have a rest, and then you'll decide whether you're going to do it again or not. So all over to the wall. Wait, not yet. That's not that one. Okay. Now, everybody, come to all fours. Get your heels up the wall first. So you're trying to get your feet, your toes are on the floor. Your toes are on the floor. That's it. Toes are on the floor and heels are up. And then left leg up. But try to keep your hips level and try to really work your arms really strongly, your arms and your thoracic. Try to let your neck hang. Try to walk your hands in closer. Try to get more of the splits, hips level. Okay, let's do the other leg. And then we'll have a break. So right leg up. Strong arms. You can pace yourself if you need to hold for not as long as I say, that's fine. Are you sliding? Is your mat not sticky?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've got this toe doesn't bend.
Oh yeah, just work on that on its own. Everybody have a break in child's pose. Do this. Just work on the big toe joint.
Yeah, because it doesn't. It's all sort of.
Yeah, or ordinary downward dog, or do what you can. You don't have to do this one. So either you rest in child's pose, skip the last hold, or you do the one we did before, just in the downward dog, not the legs up the wall variation. Or you do that again with your legs up the wall. So you're all kind of doing your own thing a bit. Some people are staying in child's pose. Some people are going hard. Some people are going in between. Intelligent yoga, we're not all doing the same thing. Keep breathing. And I'm gonna. You can swap when you're at your halfway point. You've got to judge that with your arms. So maybe that you better swap now. Maybe you can hold for longer on this side, and then you need to hold for. So it's your arms. When you're done, you're in a kneeling resting pose. Okay, so the next one is make your way to standing, and easier would be your right leg would just be on a chair or lower on the wall. Harder, hips level, your right leg is higher. Okay, and then we'll do something with our shoulders. We'll do fingers clasped, press the palms up. So first check hips are level, put your right leg up, check your hips are level, and the higher you get your right leg, the harder it is on the left leg to stabilise. So you notice, and then you've got to try to squeeze in the elbows, lift the chest, squeeze the lower ribs in, keep the breath flowing, and working pretty hard in this one. The higher you get that right leg, the harder it is on the left leg. So you can challenge the left leg, challenge your strength, your balance, and your flexibility, and your shoulder mobility. Final inhalation. And exhale, bring the arms down, bring the feet together, take a breath. Okay, place the left leg up and get your hips level. Check with your hands, hip bones. Don't let the right foot turn out too much. And then you can clasp your fingers the less natural way and press the palms up. Try to squeeze in the elbows. Don't tense the neck. Just keep the breath flowing. Okay, and if you're a bit wobbly, not very good at yoga, you only get more benefits. So if you're good at it, you're not going to get as much benefit. Make it challenge your balance a bit. Okay, releasing. Okay, we're going to do right leg up and rotation through the spine. So right leg up again. And easier is keep your spine in neutral, and harder is go sort of forward and rotate. So easy on your lower back. Don't lean forward, just stay upright. But if you want to make it harder, go forward, like left chest towards right knee. That's harder. Right foot higher, and just everybody at your edge. Keep the breath going. Next exhalation, final exhalation. Centre up and feet together, arms beside you. Left leg up. And then turning to the left. And harder would be right chest towards left knee. But that's an option, and that's a bit harder on your back. You might stick with easier. That right foot's turned out too much, Bruce. Try to keep the foot quite parallel. Then you work more on the inner knee joint, inner thigh. Next exhalation, final exhalation. Centre up. I'm going to show you easier and harder. Already we did all the easier options. There's the downward dog, one leg up. There's a downward dog, one leg up the wall, one in the middle. This is harder if you've got the confidence. You're basically here, and then right leg, or which actually it's left leg first. So it's left leg. And some of you will feel confident to do that, and some of you won't just be quite ready for that. So you can either do just downward dog at the wall or away from the wall. At the wall's a bit more intense. Okay, so one more. Left leg up, then the right leg up. So it could be upside down, and you can pace when to swap. So you might have a shorter hold, you might have a longer hold, and it's your shoulders, it's your wrists. Put a healthy amount of pressure, just the right amount, so you don't aggravate neck. Yeah, and if you advance, you can even go into a bend back there, Alyssa. If you, teenagers, you can do. You can go right back into a bend. You know what I mean? Yes, like that. Yeah. You can go down, or you can do We've got teenagers, we've got 70-year-olds, we've got 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds in this class. So we're all doing our own thing. Got stiff body types, flexible body types, all different. Okay, once you've balanced it out, you're resting in a child's pose again. Okay, so we're coming back to just sort of the middle of the room now, and you might have a block at the front of your mat. Oh, that's the wrong way, this way. Or two blocks, or a chair, because that's going to make it easier anyway, but yeah, you don't have to. Okay, now, so harder would be nothing. I could do harder. Easier, I could just have, this could be like a chair. Yeah, but you've all got 2 blocks. That's good. It all worked out, did it? We've all just got 2 blocks. Okay. Now, going to stand. Everybody stand up with the feet straight. Okay. And then inhale and exhale. We're going to bring the left leg up first. Try to keep the hips level. Put the hands on the blocks. If you're a bit more flexible, the floor will be okay. But most people, the blocks are better for alignment and not overstraining or overstretching the right hamstrings as well. Yeah, hip bones level. Okay, and exhale. Keep the core switched on. Stand up. Slowly stand back up. Okay, so feet together, feet touching. Engage the core, in tune with that, connecting to that, everything feeling stable. Okay, and then exhale, this right leg up. Make those little adjustments of hip bones level. Good, Philippa, that's it, that's it. That's it. Good, good, good. I'm stealing one off you there. Okay, and core switched on to lift back to standing. Okay, so we might just do that again. Inhale, exhale. It was left leg up first, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, left leg up first, hands on blocks. And then optional a little bit more if you want. Right hand on the right hip. Look to the right, and if your back feels stronger, reach the right arm up. This is the reverse half moon. Got to work hard. It's actually whole body strength. Glutes, inner thighs, core. Yeah, and the other arm, Kate, the other arm. Yeah, if you're really, really balanced, you take the left hand off the block. Like this, Kate. This one you're turning to the right. That's the one, that's the one. Keep the core switched on to slowly bring yourself back to standing because your head's heavy and your lower back is, you're working, from the core so your lower back doesn't strain. So we're going to bring the right leg up now. Left hand on the hip. Maybe look to the left. Optional, reach up. There's a reverse half moon. Optional is take the right hand off the block, and so you're really challenging your balance. So you're trying to really work from the core here. Straight legs straight back and rotating. Okay, so moving from the core, coming out of that one. Okay, stepping the right foot forward into a lunge, left leg back. Okay, and then exhale, lowering down to a low lunge. So you can hands on the blocks will help to get more lift through the chest. And hands on the floor, if you're a bit more flexible, might be fine. But often the blocks help to get that bit more lift, and so you don't have a rounded spine. Actually use the blocks, Philippa. Yep. That's it, that's it. Front foot a bit further forward, Ellie. Yeah, good, good. That's it. Okay. And then back to the standing lunge. And then swapping left foot forward. Up into the high lunge, taking a few breaths. Okay, and then down to the low lunge. Maybe go a little bit deeper, front foot further forward, chest lifting. And then back up to the high lunge. Finding a balance there. Yeah, it's hard if your toes are stiff too. Okay, we are working on flexibility in the toes. Okay, and then right foot forward, straight legs though, not a lunge, not a lunge. Okay, inhale, exhale, hands to the hips, stretching forward. Some of you who are a bit stiffer, most people, which is most people, put your hands on the chair or 2 blocks. Some people are a bit more flexible, your hands can be on the floor. Not rounding out too much, not overstretching. So stretching forward and keeping that lift out of the lower spine or the belly button. Hold strongly through the back leg. But the most important thing is not overstretching, relaxing, making it feel good. Final exhalation, next exhalation. Now the block really helps with this one, reverse triangle, to get your back straight. So some people with the block higher or 2 blocks, or hand on the chair. Some people with hand on the floor, the other way, Lotta. Yep, and the right arm up, Kate, the other arm. Yep, like that, good. Let's see the straight backs. Crown of the head and tailbone in opposite directions. Get a bit more height through the block, Philippa. Step the back foot in, Roger. Try and get straight legs for this one. Straight legs. Good. Strong backs, mobile, flexible backs. Step the back foot in a bit there. So the back foot. You've got to get the grounding through the back heel. Final exhalation, next exhalation. Moving from the core to lift your body out of reverse triangle. But you've still got your right foot forward, and we're repeating the stretch forward, and usually you go a bit further into it. Hands on the blocks or the floor. Holding that stretch again. We haven't swapped legs. We've still got the right foot forward. Next exhalation, final exhalation, the pose. Make sure the core's switched on to lift out of the pose, and then to stand with your feet together. Take a breath in Tadasana, nice straight posture, alignment through the feet for a moment, connecting into your body right now. There's enough to worry about out there in the world. Let's just focus on right now what we're doing and enjoy this. So we can't control so many things that are happening. Okay, so left leg forward. Focus on what you just did. So you did one and then you did another and then you came back in. So see if you can remember what you've just done in your head. Do it in your head first. Just test your short-term memory. Okay, so we're going to go forward. Don't have that back foot too far back. A lot of you, the blocks or hands on the chair would be just perfect for this. So holding that stretch and not overstretching, relaxing into it. That's the most important thing, accepting your body, loving your body, enjoying where you're at today, every day. Good, good, good. Next exhalation, final exhalation. And then rotating to the other direction. So it should be left foot forward, turning to the left. That's it. Let's see straight back. So some of you might need a bit more height to get that nice lift through the chest and not rounding. You're trying to have straight legs straight back. Lean back a bit to the right and careful of your back with this, your lower back with this one. Get a bit more height even. Be generous. Be generous with the height if you have a tricky lower back. You know, you feel okay at the time, but then tomorrow you go, oh, my lower back's sore from yoga. You want to feel freer. You want to feel younger. Final exhalation. Keep the core switched on to lift back up out of the pose. And then exhale, back into the straight stretch forward. Hopefully a little bit further. Your body's letting you go a tiny bit further forward now. Final exhalation, next exhalation. Keep the core switched on, coming back to standing in Tadasana. Okay, and then we'll come down to the floor. Exhale, raise up the arms, inhale, lift out the lower spine, and then going forward, carefully exhale. And then maybe you can sit down, you can squat down and sit down your bottom. And then lying on our back with the legs up again. And we're going to point and flex, and point and flex, point, flex. And then hug the knees in. And then push your feet away and sit up. Firm core, push your feet away, sit up. And then point and hold gently, gently. Don't over point because then your arch might cramp up. So sitting up now and then flexing and then point, gently hold. Ankle flexibility we're working on here. Do both feet look the same? Try to get the knees the same, the feet the same. Get alignment as much as you can. And then flex, and then point. Hold the point. Okay, so that would be easier if you can't kneel right now because the ankles just aren't liking it, or the knees. You can keep doing that. Otherwise, kneeling, and we'll do one leg, one knee, other knee. One knee. Just don't overstretch your ankles. So I'm lifting one knee up, then the other knee up. So ankle stretch. Really good if you do a lot of walking, if you do a lot of running, working on your feet, or just getting older, which is everybody in the whole world is getting older. If they're lucky, they get older every year. If you're lucky, you have a birthday every year. And so we're just trying to keep that joints flexible because that's going to help us. It's going to help us in our life. Okay, and maybe both legs up, don't overstretch. Both knees up, not legs, not both legs up. Okay. Okay, and then downward dog. Dorsiflexing. And then upward dog. Plantar flexion, pointed feet. Stretch the belly, strong arms, and then downward dog. And then right leg up. And then right foot through the hands. Okay, you might need a blanket under your left knee for this one. Okay. So if you need a blanket under your left knee, if you're on the hard floor, and I'm just turning my right foot out. Or the two blocks will help if you're a bit stiffer. I'm just on my fingertips, so I'm trying not to round out too much, and we should all really try not to round out too much to keep our spine healthy. Keep that lift of the lower spine, gently engaging your thoracic, and the right foot turning out and in. Just hold the stretch for a few more breaths. And then back to downward dog. Left leg up, inhale, foot through the hands. And then you might need a blanket under the right knee. So we're trying to stretch over the left leg. Turn the foot out and in. Don't overstretch. Keep that lift out of the lower spine or the waist or the belly button or the lower lumbar to slow down the degenerative changes that we can speed up aging by sitting too much and not doing yoga and never stretching. Thinning of the discs, rounding of the spine, stiffening of the joints, stagnant blood flow. So let's keep the joints young. Let's keep promoting healthy aging in our joints, good stretching, working on our balance, working on our strength, working on our flexibility, focusing our mind, trying to enjoy where we're at. Final few breaths. A little bit more stretch, not overstretching, not hunching. Okay, downward dog. We're at the grand finale, all the work. Finally, we can do the splits after all that work. So if you did all that work every day for an hour, after 10 years, maybe after 2 months, maybe after 1 year, maybe after 10 years, maybe never, you might be able to do the splits. Just enjoy where you're at. Lower your expectations. Okay, so right foot forward. Okay, I'm at my edge here. You've got to use your arm muscles. Also, you could grab a block and see the blocks, that's too high, and that's okay. So you can use a block, but sometimes it's just not the right height, you know. You need it a bit higher, a bit lower. Don't force. So it's not like that, it's trying to square up those hips and be careful, don't overstretch. Using your arm muscles as well, weight bearing. Yeah, just do that, that's gentle. Gentle as this one. Just a lunge, just do a hip flexor, maybe a deeper lunge. Careful of overstretching. We're staying with it a bit longer, 1 minute hold. Being able to do the splits doesn't mean you're going to have healthier joints or be happier. But stretching is good for you. It makes you feel relaxed. It's good for your blood, good for your body, good for your circulation. Try not to get too stiff as we get older. Final exhalation, next exhalation. Now getting out of there, it's not very graceful. Just climb out of there. Okay, just soften for a moment the hamstrings, kneeling. You can have your head in wherever you want your head, on the floor, on the block. You actually feel that blood flow in the right hamstrings and the left hip flexors. So it's the hip flexors in the back leg, hamstrings in the front leg. Let's do grand finale. Downward dog. It starts as downward dog. And the left foot forward through the hands. Oh. Just doing your best, no judging. Accept your body, love your body. Holding. Trying to relax the face, just hold at your edge. Just be really careful not overstretching. Just never stop doing your best. Just a little bit longer, just a few more breaths. Okay, get yourself out of there and into kneeling, just kneeling. And if you have a yoga strap, don't worry if you don't, but if you do it up in a loop. So you're not going to need it right now, but you are going to need it soon, and I'm going to show you a pose. But don't worry if you don't have one. But if you have one, do it up into a loop so it doesn't, you can pull on it and it doesn't move. Okay, so if you're comfortable in child's pose, no more contracting, no more stretching. It's all softening the last 20 minutes. It's all just, everything's softening, joints softening. So just child's pose if you're comfortable doing that. And if you're not comfortable doing that, try to use props, blanket behind your knees, maybe a block under your head. And if you still can't, you can lie on your back, hug your knees in. So this will be 2 minutes, but if it gets a bit too strong in your shins or your ankles or your knees, just lie on your back, as I said, hug your knees in whenever you need. Some of you will be fine for 2 minutes, and it's your knees. Just feel your body breathing in and out. Okay, now I'm going to show you the next one. It's basically the same shape, but you're lying on your back, and it's really good if you have a sore knee or ankle and you can't kneel. So see, I've got my strap. I'm putting it round my upper back as high as I can get it, and then I'm putting it round, and then I'm trying to tighten it as much as I can. So get the buckle organised. So I'm trying to, and then that's tight enough, I think. So then it's just holding my knees in that pose, just holding my knees into my chest, tighten it a bit more. And so I can have Shavasana arms. If you don't have a strap, just use your arms. But it is nice to just hold the knees in with your arms just resting. So it's sort of around your, try to get the strap around your shoulder blades, upper back. Get it, tighten it up, and your just knees are held there. They don't need to be as tight as they can be. You can just be, as long as you feel supported, you'll get the release. You feel like you can let go. And did you want to have a go or not really, Kate? Can't be bothered. Yeah. Anyone not able to negotiate their strap? So you're trying to have Shavasana arms, palms facing up if it's comfortable. And also you could go back to child's pose as well. So if you're really comfortable, you could just sink back into that one. So your hip flexors, not stretching, not contracting, because we did a lot of that today. And your hamstrings, not stretching, not contracting. We did a lot of that today. Softening, and that's also a big part of joint health, not just flexibility and strength. And a lot of people, a lot of exercise systems forget about just softening, squatting, kneeling, sitting with your legs crossed to keep the body young. You can always relax that face a little bit more. And then the whole body scan through. Okay, everyone. Now I'll show you the next one. It's really beautiful as well. Now it involves the strap in a tiny loop. So like this. Like this. Strap in a tiny loop, tying your ankles together. Oh, you need to go over to the wall first. Don't do it up yet. Find a wall, and then I'm going to put, you can put pillows, bolster, folded blanket. I've got a block there, and it's just holding my legs there. So I'm trying to, that strap somehow twisted itself. So it's legs up now, and everything's softening. So we're not holding, we're not contracting, we're not stretching. If you can't find a wall, the middle of the room might be fine too. For some of you, the middle of the room, you'll be totally relaxed. So as you hold this, just focus on breathing in, breathing out. Okay, so see if you can just feel your belly, your diaphragm moving when you breathe in and out. Just quietening down the mind and finding a little bit of peace, which is always nice, and connecting in a bit. Keep bringing your awareness back when it wanders off. Just feeling your body breathing right now. Eyes heavier and face softer. Okay, so last pose, you know what that one is, Shavasana. You can just come back a bit from the wall. You can stay where you are, or you can move your mats in it back to the middle, or just find a bit of personal space and just maybe put a blanket over you. Just lying down for about 7 more minutes and letting go a little bit more in our joints. No strap, just let the feet flop. Undo the strap, so the feet just fall out. Yeah, so Shavasana, feet hip width or a bit wider, feet turn out, palms face up, and make a few adjustments so you can be still for about 6 minutes more, and you're giving yourself just that little bit more quality time, attention, self-care, and that equals health care. And it's good to take responsibility for our health, and we know how important working on our body is, working on our flexibility, working on our strength, working on our balance, working on being positive, being grateful for our body. And now we're working on holding our attention and just feeling our body right now and getting that calming effect in our head. So mental health. And so feel positive that you've done that whole about 70 minutes you've worked on your body. It's a big chunk of your time, and allow that a positive feeling for your discipline and your commitment to your body. Now let your whole body rest, really let it go consciously, especially around the hips and the spine, and really feel, hopefully tomorrow, if you feel like you're overstretched, you'll notice that maybe your lower back feels a bit twingy. Then you'll just be careful. Okay, next time we do all those hamstring stretches, I'll go a little bit more gently. So learn when you actually overdo things. Don't just keep doing the same things over and over. In yoga, in life, don't keep making the same mistakes over and over. Bye, Kerry. See ya. See if you can sink down a bit more through your whole body, the back body. So feel like the floor, it's not hard, it's like a bed. You're sinking down. So you're comfortable on that hard floor. The more your weight is evenly distributed, the more balanced your spine is, the more actually comfortable this pose is. So people that are really rounded can't lie in this pose very easily on a hard floor. So just understanding this pose, it's a lot to do with your spine, your flexibility, your posture. Eyeballs a bit heavier, and face and jaw and tongue and throat a bit softer. One more minute in the pose. actually, because I have my phone's filming, and I look at that for the time, and I was looking at my watch, and my watch is a bit slow, so I've actually finished 5 minutes earlier. So I'm sorry if you... I just got the time mixed up today. So it was a 70-minute class, not a 75, but that's fun. I'm sure you're all happy and feel good. And thanks for effort, everyone. And this might go onto YouTube. I'll have a look at how it went. And yeah, you might be able to just do this class again if you enjoyed it. Hundreds of times over. You can do it every day. And you're doing the splits after. You will be doing the splits. Thank you. Well, if you actually got to the end of that and didn't just lie in bed and watch it and did the whole lot, I hope you feel pleased with yourself. The benefits will last for the next couple of days. You might feel some new muscles too, and keep going with it. Maybe do it once a week if you're stiff in that area. And I hope you can subscribe and think about becoming a patron. And let me know if you want more of my live classes as well, because it's quite easy just to record and upload them onto YouTube. So enjoy. Bye.